Hello again. So we've gone through the WebDNA syntax and introduced the tutorial that we're going to create. It's Christoph's tea room, and the first part of this tutorial is going through WebDNA Software Corporation's product Site Builder. So before we get into Site Builder, let's take a quick peek at the mock-up file. Thanks, Patrick, for reminding me about the camera. So,
if we ever forget to turn the camera off and you can't see what's going on, just say something and we'll turn it off.
Don't know if that's going to work.
It's WebDNA. It's WebDNA.
So we go into the client CD, and they graciously provided a mock-up for us to look at. So we're going to open that up, and this is a general template for what we're going to try to recreate first in Site Builder.
So to be clear, the customers provided us with a first page of a website that has their logo, the font they like, the colors they like, and a little bit of navigation with some mouse over action on it so that we can see exactly what it is they want the website to look and feel like when we're done.
Right. So to get started, we will navigate the URL to our default development web server installation, which find here. This is the web catalog directory. Here is the default directory for the administration pages upon any WebDNA install. So at the root of that directory on the left we find Site Builder. We click on that, and here's where we create our default Site Builder store. So I'm just going to call this Christoph's tea.
We should mention too that what you type in here is going to be used to name a file that will hold all the files and folders that's related to this site that you're building. And so you have to name it according to whatever the conventions are for the platform that you're on. You can't use spaces and periods and backslashes or any illegal characters, and act as though you're naming a file on disk.
Good point. Okay, so we have the option of making putting the Site Builder store or site within a WebDNA sandbox. A sandbox is generally an ISP type of feature, Internet Service Provider type of feature that's used to give a group of websites or content the ability to have their own administration pages. For this particular project, we won't necessarily have to create a sandbox folder. It's just an option to sort of separate groups of content.
It is important if you're building multiple websites for multiple customers on one server that houses your WebDNA installation. You do want to put the individual sites in sandboxes, because then if people working for your client want to have access to the WebDNA administrative pages, they can do so without seeing your other customers' interfaces, so that each customer has an independent set of users. Each customer can flush just their own databases separately. It's as if they don't know that the other customers exist, which is important.
Basically, each one of those groups, just to show you quickly, gets their own administration pages, kind of like this. So
a little simpler than this. They don't have the ISP links.
A little simpler, right? And so they get their own, for example, their password, price change password. So close that out. We're not going to use that. I'm just going to punch in admin for the security group and hit build site. First, it gives us a link to the administration side of the site that was just created. So I'm going to open up a new tab for that. This would be the side that manages all the content for the store. I'm going to scroll all the way down in the left frame, and there's a link here that says Enter Site, and I'm just going to click on this to put that in another tab there. Yeah. Oh, there we go. We have looks like a missing graphic there, but anyway, this is generally the default store that you will see once you create a new site builder template. So I'm going to go back to the administration, scroll back up in the left-hand column. We'll briefly review some of these categories before we get into modifying this site to make it look like the mock-up. Clicking on groups, these are all the groups that we have set up. Right now we're logged in as admin, who has access to everything. One of the first things you do when you create a store is you click on user accounts and click on your group and change the password to something that's not a default to protect it, but we're going to keep the default password here. Then you have the ability on the left to email your user base. We have products. These add and edit and change categories, that sort of thing. We'll get into that a little bit later. Site appearance. This is the first category of items that we will use to start to make the new site look like the mock-up that was provided. This is all the rest of the stuff under content. A lot of these pages we will not use. In fact, maybe that's the first thing we'll do is we'll get rid of a lot of these miscellaneous pages. If you go back here, you notice we have a lot of extra pages that we won't necessarily need.
One thing to point out is that when Site Builder runs and it creates the default site, it creates a whole bunch of little mini applications, really, and the store is just one of them. It also creates calendars, photos, links. There's a directory, a contact manager, all of which you can administer. So a fully blown Site Builder site has a lot of neat features in it which you should explore. For the sake of ours, it's fairly simple. This customer just wants a reasonably short list of products listed on a relatively simple site. Yeah. So we're actually going to be disabling a lot of the stuff that's already been pre-built for us.
Right. Yeah, just to extend your point there, we can click on photos here. This is kind of a nice a default photo feature here. You can actually scroll down and you can actually start a slideshow, and it will loop through all the images that you've uploaded. Or you can click on the ones on the left. It's just one of the many features. There's a calendar that you can set up appointments and stuff, but we're not going to be using a lot of this, so I'm just going to, for brevity's sake, I guess, I'm just going to get in here and start deleting some of these, and that's under page navigation. And you notice under menu here, they have the location of each one of these pages. So, for example, the FAQ page, I'm going to actually not show that, which is how you take it out, and hit save here. So when you go back to the default store, refresh, or
the FAQ is now gone.
The FAQ is gone, right? So we're going to keep doing that quickly. So page navigation, calendar, take that out, not shown, save. Photos, not shown,